So Ian fields the ball, and Ian throws it in. I'm not catching that ball.
No, you're not.
We had to tell Ian, you have to dial back.
Yeah.
You're going to get it there in time. We can't stop it. All I'm going to do is knock it down or body it.
Yeah.
I'm never going to be able to make a tag. You can't throw it that hard.
Because he can throw it on a rope.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I mean, he was a pitcher.
Yeah, and a lot of arm strength with him. Wow.
Ooh. Yeah, so like I feel like all my good attributes are just kind of. First of all, we throw underhand, and it's a gentleman's game. So you're not out there like, oh, I'm going to carve this guy up. I know there's some pitchers that might get a little competitive.
Todd, you want to address that one?
Oh, absolutely. It's a chess match out there, Percy. Your job is to make sure they don't hit the ball or score any runs. Okay. And I mean, so it is a chess match.
But let me interject here, though. Up until about the last two years, the game was never played that way. It's a gentleman's game. So no tobacco, no spit, no grabbing yourself, any of that. Because back in the day, if you did that, you got fined.
Ooh.
Okay. You would get fined by the captain of your club.
Vintage baseball.
Because you insulted.
I like that.
Yeah, they would fine you. So,
I mean,
when we first started out.
Did they wear cups?
No.
Well, okay. I was going to say, because with a cup, you got to readjust
that ball's not hard enough for a cup, is it?
Make yourself at home, do your do. Welcome to my pad, this your lab. Go create your move.
This episode is brought to you by Peterman Plumbing and Heating. What's good, everybody? This is 99 miles per hour. It's me, your host, Percy Garner, and I have a full room with a lot of men letting off heat. So we're going to just get right to this. But before I let them introduce themselves, we're going to give them a proper introduction. Just of, we're talking about vintage baseball. Now, I know for a fact a lot of you do not know what that is because I didn't just a few years ago, I guess. And for the first time, I got to see it in action this year at the Cy Young Festival. So I'm anxious to get started into learning about the game, and we're going to do that here shortly. But the first guest, I'm going to introduce myself because I can't wait to say. He's actually a podcast co-host himself. I'll let him say his name, but his podcast is The Steelers Realm. Well, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Well, Percy, I appreciate that. And you're right. The estrogen in this room is outstanding at this present time and moment. We might need a few ice packs before this is over with. But I am with the Vintage Baseball team, and I am with the Steelers Realm. So please, all of you podcasters, join us in the realm to talk a little Steelers. But today, it's all about the Vintage Baseball. And I am Todd, the A-Train Amos. And to my right, we have the most vintage guy who will introduce himself today. Scott, take it away.
Yes, I am Scott Trashman Miner, and I do consider myself to be the look of vintage baseball. I like to get out there in front of the crowd and try to show them what it would have been like back in the 1860s. And to my right is one of my fellow pitchers and catchers. We'll get into terms later. Drew?
I am Drew Monkey Arms Yawkey. I don't really have anything fancy to say like that. I'll throw it over to Sam.
Just throw it over.
Well, Drew was my neighbor for years. Then he left me. But go ahead.
That two-timer.
You'd actually admit it. Well, I am the captain, Sam the Mule Payton. And as you...
It's only on paper, by the way.
Yeah,
folks.
that's what, that I'm the mule or the captain?
Both.
Yeah. Well, that's true sometimes, but it takes a club. But no, we if you've noticed, we have nicknames. So back in the 1860s, players had nicknames, and they all had nicknames. Sometimes it took a game or two, or actually they were called matches, and then they would get that, or something crazy would happen. Sometimes
they would earn it.
They would earn it. Yeah. Sometimes it would change too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
Well, that's similar to Pro Ball, except they're not nicknames. They're just labels. You get those fast. You want to make sure you got a good label.
Well, that's one of those things that carried over, because nicknames are insulting. Labels aren't, right?
Well, I don't know. The people today, the labels they use could be bad, but no, I'm real interested in getting down to vintage baseball and what it is. I know on my Instagram story during the Cy Young Festival, I was trying to share and talk about the things that were different. I only touched on a few, but what is the actual year that you guys, because I know there's a couple, well, I guess we'll get into the different types and different versions. There aren't many versions though, but they're based off how many years or what years are they based off of?
They from 1860 is when is the foundation, the basis. But then they'll play 1864, 1867 rules.
That was the year 1860.
Yeah, so it depends what part of the country.
Oh wow!
If you're on the East Coast, they play 1864, 1867. Okay. Because they like the fly rule. Okay. Because that's when the fly rule came in. 1860 is the bound rule, which means you catch the ball on a bounce, the striker is out.
Or the fly rule has got to catch in there.
The bound went away, and to where today, if that ball hits that ground, that's a base hit.
Oh wow!
So Percy, let me help my captain out a little bit to give a little brighter picture of this. Uh-oh. We are playing in bloomers first and foremost. It is not the lightweight uniform you see today. So we are dressed in 1860 period. And as you are mostly aware of in today's age, you have a glove on your left or right hand, depending on who you are. In 1860, the cows were in shortage, so you had no gloves. So hence the difference between the bound rule and the fly rule. So continue, Capitan.
Yes. But even in 67, as my sidekick graphically described the glove, if you could afford it, you had it. And it really wasn't until 1880s that it really... second baseman with the Cincinnati Reds was like the last one to not wear a glove. And that had been in 1887, I believe. Wow. Something like that. So we're talking 1860 to then, no glove, unless you could afford it.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw guys just catching it on the fly, not caring down in New Cumberstown. I mean, it takes a man to do that. And, sometimes it stings. Look at Todd. He's like... But look at the marks. I can see them.
Nice.
That was just this weekend. Yeah.
It was Sunday.
That's 45 foot at 100 mile an hour, Percy, one-handed.
Wow. I don't believe you.
He choked and missed it.
Couldn't close it quick enough.
If you're going to get your hand on the ball, you should catch it.
Oh, man. Yeah.
Still got him out at first, though.
That's good. That's good. So, heavy uniforms, no glove, catch it on the bound. There's also a cool little thing you got to do when you run across home plate if you're fortunate enough to score.
You ring the bell.
Okay. I like that because I was like, wait, the first time I heard it, I was in the stands. I was like, wait, what happened?
Yeah. So that's also, again, geographic. If you read back in the history books, they did say that you had to ring a bell to get it.
To tally your aces.
Tally your aces. You tallied your own ace. So everybody portrays a certain period of time.
Okay.
So,
if we were in Hawaii, we'd have a Concord.
Ooh, yeah.
Ooh,
yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So
Moana action. No,
yeah. Instead of ace tally, you had to
do a
little dance.
Do a little. I like it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we are
Sammy in a skirt.
Really. I was gonna say, isn't our goal to get him to dance?
Yeah, no. That's exactly.
Take me to Hawaii. I'll dance. But so there's a lot of like. The foul ball is called a foul tick.
Oh, yeah. I noticed you saying that a lot because you're like the voice out there. You were just... Was that a different role you were playing other than coach and player too?
Yeah, at times.
Is there an umpire?
An arbiter? Yes. They were called arbiter.
Okay.
Yes. And usually that would be the mayor of the town would do it. Now we're talking, pre-1860, early on.
Okay.
Come out of church, put their little medallion thing on their shirt, and go out there and play in the field alongside the church. Oh. And then the game morphed into, let's put teams together and travel and put, that kind of thing. And then before you know it, we're paying players. And here we are. Now we're trying to show you how it was played.
Which is one key thing about where the game was played. There were no ball fields. I don't know. I wasn't at Cy Young. Did we play on the ball field?
Yeah,
we did.
Yeah. I was literally just about to ask if there was home runs and everything, but keep going.
It's a field. You lay out the bases, 90 feet between, 127 feet from home plate to second base. The home run is when you
run
all the way around because you just hit over their heads. There's no walls. There's no fence. I mean, if there was a fence, it was because it was next to a farmer's field.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
And we played in the tournament this weekend that had a pond in the back of left field, and the pond is fair play.
Wow.
The ball went in the water, and the left fielder refused to get it. So our guy just ran around.
He gave us a home run, so we didn't care.
Right.
Yeah, of course.
So the game was a gentleman's game because there was no dead ball. There's no dead ball at any time.
Okay.
All right. So it wasn't stealing. It was called running.
Okay.
So they didn't use the term stealing until like 1867 when you could steal. Prior to that, 64, they called it running.
Gotcha.
You could run when the hurdler started to make his motion to home plate.
And that's the pitcher.
And you could, correct.
Okay.
So the striker would stand up there, and my interpretation.
And that's the hitter.
That's the man with the hitter. Yeah, the man with the stick.
I'll translate for Sam. I'll give you from Sam.
We're going to put words,
I'm not gonna do
words
it
on the screen.
He's referring to that British guy that does that TikTok thing. But
Don't forget to mention the pillows.
the pillows out there. Yeah, we did have pillows.
Okay.
For our British fans out there, but they were called sacks.
Okay.
And same dimension as today, but they were literally sacks. And your home plate in your pitching mound was a round 12-inch metal plate.
Really?
Were
you elevated on the pitcher's mound or no?
No.
Because it didn't really matter?
Well,
35
if
feet.
you were elevated, it was because the ground was elevated.
Okay.
There was no intent to do it. It's just how you laid the field out. If there
That's
was
a good statement because they played anywhere. You know, and they just played in the fields. They didn't have a diamond. So that was a big key thing.
Did people just crowd around after church and just watch?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And they claim, again, this is kind of controversial, but the whole, back then, gentlemen didn't show skin. Women didn't show skin in 1860. So if the gentlemen wanted to roll up their sleeves, or if a gentleman didn't have the proper clothing, they had to ask permission to play. So they'd have to ask the ladies if it was okay to roll the sleeves up, or to play without a cap. So today we would refer to, like, we get a rookie, a lot of times we don't have a complete uniform for him, and we'll just ask the crowd to please excuse it. This gentleman's still in his pajamas.
Gosh. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, I didn't like learning history in school because, who wants to learn government history? Seriously, no. But history like this is interesting to me, and I tried to share it as much as I could. But I think this is another way to do that. For me, I mean, is there more history that we think we might be missing? So I think you started to say something earlier, but I can't remember. But I guess if there's something else that comes up, let me know. But I kind of want to get into what attracted each one of you into, so we can get Drew talking a little bit. And
good luck with that.
See how much they talk.
Don't be blaming us.
Come on now, monkey arms.
Chime in.
But yeah, let's start with Drew. And what got you into vintage baseball other than Sam attacking you? No,
actually,
At church, by the way.
Well, yeah. Kim took over as the Christian education director at our church.
Okay.
And the moment she got that job, I was trying to get her to get a church softball league team.
Okay.
So after about a year and a half of her doing absolutely nothing with it, because she's convinced that our average age of church was like 70, so no one would play. So
gotcha.
Finally, Sam's like, quit yelling at your wife and just play with me. So
okay.
I ended up going to practice with them, and then I just started sticking around with the team. It was cool and different. And
yeah. I know I was mowing my grass one time, and you were like, hey, there's this league out there. And I was like, I mean, I'm pretty much done with baseball, but I'll think about this because it was different. But I just, I'm still afraid to look like a fool. I'm this professional athlete, I can't get out there and be like, oh, how in the heck did he make it? No.
Oh no.
This ball,
It doesn't matter what kind of gentleman you are. This ball will make you look like an idiot.
Everyone.
Well, I noticed it wasn't like the field was that great in condition, but the ball and the field combining together to make it hard for the outfielders. I felt bad. I was like, man, that's why some of them, I think, were trying to catch it in the air because you didn't know which way it was going to bounce. Is that typical? Say you were playing at Progressive Field with this ball. Would it bounce true, or would it have
no different than in regular baseball? You want to catch it on the fly.
Yeah.
You want to hold that runner.
Okay.
So some guys, if there's 2 outs and the ball, and it's kind of an easy fly and it comes, they're going to take it easy on their hands and let it bounce.
Gotcha.
But then that bounce, like this past weekend, we had multiples where the guy took the right angle. Even the other clubs, like, oh my God, he took the right angle, and look at that thing. It took a wicked left hop.
Well, you said to hold that runner. So if he lets it bounce,
the runner can treat it like a ground ball.
Okay. All right. Okay. So that's something I did not know.
Right. You treat it like a ground ball, and the force is always on. In 1860, the force was always on.
Okay. So does that mean if there's a guy on second, no one at first, you can just throw it to third base, or you mean the force?
No. If there's one on first and second, you can get the guy out at first, and there's still a force at third.
Oh, okay. So it'd be easy to turn double play. Like today, you know, they have to tag the runner going to second.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Correct. Yep.
Awesome.
Yep. Yeah. And it's real confusing. It really is. We've got a couple of players that even
yes, we do.
It's brutal.
I mean, how long have you been playing this?
This will be my fifth. I already figured it is my 15th season.
Okay.
And I've been the captain last 5 years.
Nice. Now, the younger players, are they the ones confused, like a drop show, or
no? Well, it depends on the rule.
Oh, okay.
But everybody, the foul ball will get you confused if you're a base runner.
Oh yeah, go on that one.
Because if you're a base runner and it's a foul ball, today a foul ball, if it hits and crosses the line, foul ball. But back in the day, it's about where the ball hits, and if it hits fair in between the lines, it goes across. It's still fair ball. So there was no bunting, but they slapped.
Gotcha. Okay.
You got to take a full swing. So they would slap down, put that spin, send it left and right.
Bunting. Okay.
No bunting. So
Todd looks like he would be a bunter.
I do, just with my natural swing.
Yes, you did. You did that very well.
Yeah. You did. Yes.
Yeah. Oh man.
So my weaker hitters, I've taught them. That's what they do.
Especially when you got 2 strikes and you're sitting up there and you're watching that pitch and you slap at it and miss it, and then you got to make that walk of shame back to the dugout.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if tell me if I'm wrong, but in this game, if I was playing, my strategy, if I'm feeling good that day, obviously I want to hit it really far, but I might just chop it because with a first baseman I having a glove, isn't a little bit more challenging to complete a typical play where fielding the ground ball at third or short and throwing it over to first?
I will let my catchers,
and
pitchers.
Okay, and is that, what are their technical terms behind the hurler?
The hurler, and the behind, pitcher and the catcher.
Okay,
and the advantage of the slap, you're used to a bunt. Bunt goes 8, 10, 15, whatever.
Yep.
The slap, Sam's talking full swing. So if the plate is here and the ball hits here and goes that way, it can go 25 feet. Wherever it goes, it's a fair ball. So you got to chase it
where
down.
it hits. So it goes across the line. You would call foul ball.
As long as it touches fair territory first, then it's a fair ball. Which is why, if you paid attention, you don't think about this, but you probably never heard an arbiter call fair ball. The arbiters don't say. The tradition is we only call a foul ball.
Okay.
Foul tick. And if you don't hear the arbiter say something, game on. The ball's in play. Get it.
All right.
So you have to pay attention. Throwing to first base without a glove, I mean, take your chance.
Yeah,
because first off, the guy's got to make the throw at whatever distance, and then the guy on first has to catch the ball.
Yeah.
And keep his foot on the bag.
And if you're a good runner, that guy's got to fire it, which makes it even harder for the first.
Exactly right.
Yeah, but even if you're a good runner, you can't run through first.
I'm glad you brought that up.
Mm-hmm.
Man, are you keeping a running list, Josh? No.
Yeah, that's my first game. I watched a guy who doesn't play with us anymore blow both hamstrings.
Ooh, I feel like that's what, when I learned that rule, I was like, wow, I'm a lot of a human to stop.
But it wouldn't be that way, because these guys will both tell you
Yeah.
don't run. It's not worth hurting yourself, and you have to stop it first. So to go full bore and then try and stop is only going to hurt you. Yeah. Now, I'm good because of my age and laziness. I don't have to worry about running fast. I don't have that problem. One base at a time. But the laziness, the young bucks that come in, that's not you two. The guys we recruit who are softball players and former. I mean, Ian was he played college ball, didn't he?
Yeah, he also played, I think he played independent ball. So that's still technically professional ball, but it's not affiliated with a MLB team. So it's still top-notch competition. So
you get somebody like him, it's all about breaking the habits that he has because the rules are different. And the first time we had practice and Ian's out in right field and they were Todd's bright idea. We're going to practice making plays at the plate.
Oh, Lordy.
From the outfield. We want to make sure we can get the tag.
It's not normal. Percy, do you see the two I got as behinds?
Okay, right. Yes, that's the issue.
We needed practice.
Yeah. So Ian fields the ball, and Ian throws it in. I'm not catching that ball.
No, you're not.
Chance.
No.
We had to tell Ian, you have to dial back.
Yeah.
You're going to get it there in time. We can't stop it. All I'm going to do is knock it down or body it. I'm never going to be able to make a tag. You can't throw it that hard.
Because he can throw it on a rope.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. I mean, he was a pitcher.
Yeah, and a lot of arm strength with him. Wow.
Ooh. Yeah, so I feel like all my good attributes are just kind of. First of all, we throw underhand, and it's a gentleman's game. So you're not out there like, oh, I'm going to carve this guy up. I know there's some pitchers that might get a little competitive.
Todd, you want to address that one?
Oh, absolutely. It's a chess match out there, Percy. Your job is to make sure they don't hit the ball or score any runs. Okay. And I mean, so it is a chess match.
But let me interject here, though. Up until about the last two years, the game was never played that way. It's a gentleman's game. So no tobacco, no spit, no grabbing yourself, any of that. Because back in the day, if you did that, you got fined.
Ooh.
Okay. You would get fined by the captain of your club.
Vintage baseball.
Because you insulted.
I like that.
Yeah, they would fine you. So,
I mean,
when we first started out.
Did they wear cups?
No.
Well, okay. I was going to say, because with a cup, you got to readjust
that ball's not hard enough for a cup, is it? But anyways, I just had to point that out because you talk about changing in the vintage, and it's about portraying. It's just like going and watching a Civil War battlefield reenactment. That's what we're there about. Mm-hmm. We're there to educate how it was played. There's such an interpretation. When it first started, they didn't have internet, so it was all based off of articles. It was based off of finding one of these. Okay, which was published after every convention. So this is from 1860.
Wow.
So at the end of the 1860 convention.
It's not actually from 1860. No, that's not a reproduction.
So
make it really clear on that.
Yeah. So, and this is cheap because 1964, they're how much? Trying to find up?
Oh, if you're trying to find an original 1864 copy of the rules, which would probably either Beadle or Haney, which is the other one, $1,000. Because they must have been throwaway. I mean, people just didn't hang on to them. And when the new one came out, you probably chucked the old one because this has the updated rules that we're playing by.
So, and I'm going to let Todd talk here in a minute. So so every year this would change. They would change the rules. So when we talk 60s, we started out here, and then it just morphed into this rule. We don't like that. We're going to go to this, and then we're going to go to that. And then it just goes back to the pitching. It was about placing the ball where the striker wanted it as a hurdler. Ooh. You had to put it there.
Okay.
So Drew is great at doing that. Okay. Right? And Scott was too until we stump broke him, and now he won't do that.
So on here.
So, but it's just important to point that out. And today, a lot of pitchers won't do that. And in '64, they started calling balls and strikes.
Oh, okay.
So when they started doing that, prior to that, the striker just stood there and just let the base runner just go to the other bases.
Wow.
Until you got to third, then they would swing.
Okay.
Because that's what changed after 1860, like 61, 62, somewhere in there, they started running.
Gotcha.
And then in 64, they're like, hey, this is ridiculous. The score's 45-37. And it's because he would just stand there, wait till he gets the third, and then he's going to swing at the ball and hit it and hit his run in.
Maybe that's what baseball needs.
Good. That's sorry.
But yeah, I mean, well, I guess we asked Drew what got him into it. I guess
his wife being lazy. Let's make sure we put that out there right now.
Kim's gonna be listening to
Kim, which by the way is our team mom, who does a fantastic job, and we love her. Evidently, Drew does not.
But yeah, let's hear from Todd. I mean, I can already tell. I'm probably going to be listening in to your podcast. Your presence on the mic is great. So let's hear from.
What got me into it?
Oh, you're good, Sam. You're good, Sam.
We're saving you best for last, buddy. Well, Sam has a reason to have us all here. Sam has done a great job of recruiting over the years. I've been now over 10 years now with the team. And started out as, hey, why don't you come down and watch a game? As soon as I got up, he's like, hey, we're short a player. Can you play? What? You finally talked me into coming to play a game, and now you want me to play? How do you think I get anybody else to play on this team? I'm like, good recruiting move on your part. After that, it was hooked. It was just hooked, just learning all the different positions, learning all the different rules, and it's a great game. I was never one for softball. I hate playing softball because it's just too much of a rainbow pitch. Gotcha. I want that thing coming in down and dirty so I can swing away at nothing. And vintage baseball gave that to me. And then the part of, pretending to be a real man, to be able to not go out there and catch without a glove. Because other than that, I'm just a pussy.
Yeah, well, I mean, from my understanding, I was at the Cy Young Festival, and the tournament was there, and Newcomers Town was down a player, and I was like, man, I can't play. I'm not through my physical therapy. I felt bad. Then you guys let a player play on this team.
Do you hear the world's smallest violin, folks?
and then what really got me is the team from Columbus. They had an 80-year-old play.
I know.
Is that the Muffins?
Yeah, the Muffins. Yeah. The Muffins had an 80-year-old play. Yeah, and he told me where Muffin came from. The name, and you're like, I was like, it makes sense, muffin a punt, because they weren't the good team. They were dropping the ball everywhere. So, and he was like, yeah, that's where the term muffed came from. I was like, wow, this is just learning so much from vintage baseball. But
and don't worry, folks, we will get him on the team yet.
So you use the word muff, and Drew, what does playing the muff mean?
Means that when you pitch it, you're supposed to catch it on one bound behind. And if it goes twice, then they're allowed to steal.
Oh, wow.
So they may advance to their
okay. Right. So that the catcher just can't just chill back there and be taking a break.
No, because when you're playing behind, foul ticks that are caught or foul ticks that go back and bounce, you
can bounce them off the fence.
Yeah,
if it's agreed upon.
Okay. What about, because I heard this rumor, and I don't know if it's a real rule, but it had me into the game while I was sitting in the stands. Can a fan catch a ball?
Absolutely.
He says absolutely. Scott's like, I don't know.
No, because
go ahead and make that statement.
Discussion we've had. Go ahead.
Absolutely. So back in the day, and this is one of those controversial rules. So basically what it was is if a fan caught the ball and he turned around and gave it to the offense, then the batter can continue to hit. If the fan gave it to, and by the way, a fan is called a crank.
Yes, a crank. So that's what I was like, I'm a crank.
If the crank went ahead and gave it to the defensive person, it was an out.
Oh, wow.
Because the ball never touched the ground.
Wow.
Twice.
Yeah, it can touch once. Remember, if you've agreed to play the bound rule, touches once, catch it, which would mean if it bounced and landed on a hay bale, on a bench, anything, as long as it didn't get to the ground that second time and the defender could pick it up.
4 years ago, I caught it off of a hoop skirt playing behind the base, and he was out. Poor little girl thought I was, because I was all up in that hoop skirt getting that ball. Yeah. But it was an out.
I'm just playing the game, darling. I'm just playing the game. I can see Todd right now.
And it's interesting he said the hoop. You got to understand, in 1860, what was going on in the country?
There was something that set me free eventually. Not me, but
So there were lady vintage baseball clubs.
Oh, okay. I just about that time. Only thing that really obviously matters to me is Abe Lincoln and John Wilkes Booth.
I was just more or less that there was a Civil War.
Oh, okay. There was a Civil War, so yeah. Sorry, Civil War. Nothing. Yeah.
But just another war. It's just like the Guardians.
Yes.
Okay.
They're here to protect us all.
That's right.
The Guardians.
They're gonna. Yeah.
Let's do it. But that's interesting. Okay. So I'm trying to. I feel like I might put all the rules down in the description so people can understand, what's going on. I didn't realize there was this many different ones. But
I think we're just touching it.
Yeah, we have.
You know what I mean? Really, it's really hard. And a lot of it just goes back to interpretation.
True.
If you read this and you talk about, so if you tag somebody out and you drop the ball, that runner is out because you had control.
Initially.
I tagged you. There's no such thing as a transfer.
Gotcha.
That kind of thing. So but it becomes an interpretation. Everybody interprets that. And when we just had that the other day, and one of our other players was just, because today that's an out. He was just all upset. I'm like, no, in 1860, that person was safe. So
fun times.
Well, here's another thing. On our traditional force out, when you have runner on first and second, and the play goes to third, okay, normally you catch it and you've got your foot on the bag. But let's say that third baseman juggles the ball and he's on his knees and he has that ball in his hand and he touches the bag, you would think he'd be out, correct?
Oh, my.
Wrong answer. You have to touch it with a physical body part, not the ball. So if you touch the bag with the ball, runner safe.
So you got to go back of the hand?
Back of the hand
or foot.
Your other hand.
Or another hand. Wow.
Some clubs' interpretation is you have to use your foot. You can't even use the hand. There's some clubs that'll say you could do it. It's vague. But that's
I feel like it's it's a lot of offense. You feel like you need some.
We haven't even talked defense. So defense was pre-positioned, a couple of feet around the sack. You could be anywhere around it. So a third baseman could play in foul territory.
I was going to ask that earlier. That's what I wanted to ask.
Because if that guy's traditionally a slapper, he's going to play on the other side so he can get to the ball quicker.
So that was the first initial shift.
Yes.
Nice.
Now
but only 1 foot.
Yeah.
Oh, you can only do 1 foot.
It could be like 1 or 2 steps depending on interpretation, away from the bag. That's for your first, your second, and your third baseman. But shortstop
or the rover can play anywhere he wants. So some clubs would take that rover and stick him all the way up to take that. Literally would put him between third base and home plate if you want.
Oh, that's scary. That's the softball stuff. I feel like those girls are crazy.
In foul territory. Stick him in foul territory.
Wow. I mean, I'm right now. I don't know why I'm thinking of this, but I just feel like Ichiro would be the best player in this game. Obviously, he wouldn't be able to use all of his arm strength because it just wouldn't be beneficial, like we were talking about the play at the plate. But this is just you starting to think, and your imagination runs wild. But I guess we never asked Scott directly why he. We talked to everyone else, sort of.
His beard matched the period.
Yes, it did. I go to Sam's church. 15 years now. We've known each other, and it was, you got to come play. And it was every bit of a year or more of doing that. And I was that guy that got introduced. I think the first game I played was up at Stan Hewitt, and I wore, shorts and and he had to tell the arbiter that I was in my pajamas. I was a rookie. And that first game, the competitive nature is great. And as guys, we get competitive. What I thoroughly enjoy is all of this, because when something comes up that's never happened, you have to figure it out. We had a guy that got hit by a ball as he's running and the ball hit him. In the 3 years I've played, it's never happened. So there had to be a huge discussion about, is he safe? Because we don't know. Back in the day, there was no, I mean, there was no rules.
Yeah.
And what rules there were in 1864, probably that they wrote in, probably came off of the 1860, working its way up, going, okay, we don't like this.
Yeah.
You know, there's no balls in the original game. So literally, I mean, all three of us, we've been up there and pitched 20, 25, 30 pitches to one guy. Because you can't strike out with foul ticks. You have to swing 3 times and miss, right, Drew?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
It took me 4 years, but I finally did it.
Right. And there's no walks. So if you keep throwing bad pitches, you don't, and the person, and you get to a point, where do you want it?
That's where
right here.
I would benefit. No walks.
You can hit the guy and he still gets to stand there. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I wasn't a very, I didn't hit a lot of guys, but definitely walked a few.
It's not as effective to hit them in this game.
Okay.
I mean, it just
they just
the
look
ball,
at you like,
yeah.
Man. So this is something that I feel like I think people should at least know. I mean, we're obviously, if they like it or not, whatever, that's up to them. But I think everyone should at least experience the game just to see, it should be televised or something. You guys should get a game televised.
Yeah. We'll be on ESPN 8.
It is. Yeah. It is so crazy you say that. If you go to YouTube, and I'll bet you if you YouTube and you put the Akron Cup in there, the Columbus Capitals and the Canton
Corn Shuckers.
Yeah. Okay. They're from Michigan.
I'm getting hungry.
Right?
Oh, Canton, Michigan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They had their cameras up on this 15-foot stand behind home plate, video in the game.
Just recently?
Yes.
Okay.
15th.
July 10th.
July 10th. Yeah.
Yeah.
July 10th.
Okay.
So, yeah, you could go out there and watch. You'll even get to see us.
Oh, well then,
Yeah.
but we can easily put a link to that if we find it.
Yeah.
So
we do televise it.
nice.
It has been.
So one of the other questions I want to ask is there certain skills you look at? Because I know a lot of you guys were grandfathered in, but I mean, like now, like is there someone like, ooh, that person's got this, I think they'd be good, or is it just hey, let's come out and play gentleman's game? It's gonna be fun.
They got to be Amish.
There's some fine ball players. They are.
That's what I was going to say. I noticed that because
ballists.
Huh?
You're called a ballist.
A ballist. I just know a ballist. Okay, I gotta get that in my vocabulary. Just like hurler and the behind and the striker. Look at me. I'm learning. Josh is not gonna know any of this stuff. But
What's a hook mean?
A hook?
Hook. What do you think?
A curveball.
That's pretty good.
That's
guess.
a pretty good guess.
Yeah. That's the second shift.
Oh, gotcha. So like
Wrong hand. Sometimes they're referred to as the wrong hand.
I don't know what that is.
It's a left-hander.
Oh, okay.
So defensively, they would shift. Second baseman will go out and play like a rover position, and then the rover would come closer to the sack. And then in '64, defense changed, and what they call an open, and you can play wherever you want.
Okay.
You can play as deep, whatever. But in 1860, the outfield had to be centered between the sacks, but they could be as deep or shallow as they want.
And the sacks are the bases, and the fans are the cranks. So we need people to come out and be some cranks for the day.
Even if you're cranky.
And then they're not outs. They're called hands.
Hands.
Yes. And if you get tagged out, you're not out. You're dead. That's a little bit more brutal.
So can you come back from the dead and play the next inning? Are they innings?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, one thing that throws people off, so let's say the bases are loaded and a guy hits the ball and the last out's the force out at home. So whoever was on behind him starts batting the next inning. So you can actually bat back-to-back innings even though.
Wow.
So that'll throw off a lot of people.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that because I didn't even think that was a thing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So every time you say something, we can throw another one.
Yeah, I was about to say, dang.
Hopefully that's the way you wanted this to go.
Oh, yeah. This is, just kind of open discussion. I mean, obviously I have questions, but then we kind of just go off of that. So another thing I wanted to ask is, But other than, different skills that you would look in a ball list, like what is being done? I'm assuming there's Sams on every team.
Actually, it's ex-Major League Baseball players is what we're really looking for.
Yes.
And Amish.
And you don't have to run
And
because we can have somebody run for you.
But then I would just feel like because their 80-year-old dude was out there running. He gave me his baseball card, by the way. I should have brought it today. Dang it. But we'll figure out a way to put that in. Well, Josh will, but
Actually, Percy, the only limitation is they have to be 18, and even then, as long as we're not in a cup, if we're just playing other teams, we've had kids as young as 12 play.
Yeah, and you want to do that. You start them out.
yeah.
We have a lot of dad-son things. That's a big. I got to play with my son, so we do that, and then eventually, Dave DeStefani, that's on the club. Him and I are probably one of the oldest, even older than Todd.
Mm-hmm.
That's how he started.
Even older than Todd.
Years on Todd. Yeah. So he came with his dad, Jerry DeStefani, played on the club, and so it's pretty common.
Wow. So this is all.
But here when you go back, you asked what the skill set.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, Todd and I, we take the club to Columbus to play the Capitals, and they're like the elite.
Okay.
We got 9 people committed, and we show up with 7. Between here and there, I lose 3 guys.
Okay.
They can't make it. So then we had to borrow, and then we get hurt. Well, it was brutal. We just got
Shellacked.
We rode back in that car, and I'm like, I am not playing like this anymore. I'm done. I mean, it's just brutal.
Yeah.
And it was that season. We just went through this cycle. Just guys have other lives. Can you imagine that?
Exactly.
So, I understand why they started paying you guys to play.
Yeah.
But we just, I don't know what came, or whether it was Todd, or it probably was. He's a lot sharper than I am. Was like, well, we should just make a rule that, because I would always say, where's your replacement? So as soon as you join the club, I ask you, who's your replacement?
Oh, okay.
Because that's how we did it. But eventually it was, your replacement has to be better than you.
Ooh.
So I quit recruiting because I could never find anybody better than me. And
Wow. I'd just like to point out that.
Can I get up on this table? I'm starting to drown over here.
Well, and he's saying this in a church. I mean,
no, hey, he lifted the halo off when we started.
okay.
And the lightning hasn't struck yet, so it's got to
we're
be
good.
true.
And the ball's still there. So, we joke, but eventually I've had ballists that took that serious.
Okay.
And that's what they did. And it's been great because now we can go knowing that we're going to be able to compete offensively, because again, it's supposed to be about education, and that's why we do this. It's just like going and watching a reenactment of the Civil Wars to show what it was about.
But we're men and we want to win.
You do, and that's still there, and that's fine. But we still want to show the folks how the game first started. Catching a ball without a glove. I mean, that really probably does hook more people. And then when you catch that ball on a bounce, it's a pretty good feeling.
Yeah.
Especially when you acrobatically do it. Right?
Yeah, I think I saw a great
Exactly,
play by one of the Newcomerstown players, our ballists. I think I saw a great play where they had to dive and catch it, and I was like, woo.
I'll tell you what, the Newcomerstown group of guys down there, they're good.
Yeah.
They can play. We wish they would, put a team together and start
play more often instead of just they only play during the Southern Festival.
They only play during then, but they're good, and we've recruited some of them. Usually that's kind of our hidden agenda. We walk out of there, all right, we're going to get his number.
That's smart,
and we did, and we kind of started there too. So skill set wise, we got guys that are just love the game, weren't very good, but just love baseball. So they're there doing it because. And I call us B players, and sometimes you get out there and you'd like to have all A guys, but you got to stop and remember why we're there.
True.
And we're there to, show the game and have fun, the camaraderie. But if we don't win, those younger kids aren't going to come back. That's just, they won't.
Yeah. Gotcha. Well, one thing I forgot to do, Josh, you're supposed to be in my ear telling me this stuff, but we got to pay the bills.
That's
so today's show is
sleeping, Percy. He forgot to set his alarm.
Today's show is sponsored by Peterman Plumbing. Appreciate everything you guys do for us here and making this show possible. And yeah, Josh, you know what to do on that part right there. So, but so this has been interesting. I feel like I might have to have you guys back to dive a little deeper, and because obviously, as Sam so elegantly put it, we're just scratching the surface. We haven't even talked about. But I think it is interesting, and I think obviously you're making efforts. Is there like a whole, or is it just separated? Like you don't know anybody playing in a different area. There's not like a big yearly convention like they used to have.
There is.
There is? Oh, okay.
Several.
Yeah, they have a national convention, the VBBA.
What does that stand for?
Oh, man, I knew you were going to ask me that.
Vintage Baseball Association.
Oh, yeah, because in 1860, baseball was 2 words. It wasn't one.
I was just about to ask that. I was like, where's the other B?
Yeah. So that's a big organization, and you throw them money and you fall under their umbrella and you get on their website.
Oh, gotcha.
So there's all kind, and you get your contact information. So it's pretty huge, and you can go out there and VAAB.org.
It's VBBA.org.
Yes.
There it is.
So
VBBA.org.
Yeah.
We'll put that in the description as well.
I was
We got a
wanting
lot
to
of
see
stuff
if he was
we're
paying
putting
attention. So yeah, you go out there and look at that, and then that's one platform you can find it. And they have the big convention. It travels, like they host it all over the place. Detroit, St. Louis.
Frankenmuth is the big one. 64 teams that 1 year.
Yes. And then they did construction. Now that's not, yeah, we're waiting for that to see if that comes back. But,
Okay.
But Gettysburg has a real big convention, or where a bunch of clubs come together.
Oh, okay. I knew about that. Someone had told me about the Gettysburg.
And then up in Detroit at the Ford Greenwich, is that right?
Greenfield Village.
Okay.
That's another big one here.
You guys all attend that, or just a couple, or just Sam, or just none?
No, that's none. You get on a waiting list on that one up in Michigan.
Okay. Well, I guess it is probably from everywhere in the country. It's not like
they come from all over.
Yeah. And I guess there's only so many spots.
Right.
And COVID was a thing too, so a lot of stuff was jacked up because
they say there's like 260 clubs from the East Coast to the West Coast. And a good 20 to 25 of them are right here in Ohio.
What's the furthest you guys have traveled?
I've traveled Fremont.
Fremont? Okay. And that's Toledo. Is that Toledo?
It's a suburb, yeah.
The Squires.
That's where Charles Woodson's from.
Cincinnati is probably. And we're,
4 we play on Rutherford B. Hayes's, it's his house or whatever. His museum, that's where we play.
His monument.
Whose?
Yeah.
Rutherford B. Hayes.
Oh, okay.
Which that field is crazy because there's a tree right in front of second base.
And it's not a little tree. It's a big oak tree.
Yeah, when you're on second, you lead off so you can actually see what's going on.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they just grabbed any field. Didn't matter if there was a tree here or whatever. They just grabbed a field and started playing.
Nice.
And right field is the forest.
Yes. And the backstop's a greenhouse.
This sounds amazing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a little different than Miami Marlins having the big fish tank as their backstop. Similar, though. Similar.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yeah, I think you guys will be able to come on sometime again, right? And do the same thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Todd's available. He's a professional podcaster, so.
Way to pull rank.
Yeah.
But no, I appreciate having you guys on. This was fun. A lot of information shared. A lot of information that I feel like people, hopefully they learn and, maybe strike up an interest. Is there someone they should contact if they are interested in playing or knowing or attending a game?
We got a Facebook page.
Okay.
It's the Canal Dover Red Legs.
Okay. Canal Dover Red Legs,
Yep.
because we used to be Canal Dover.
Right.
And I'll put that in the description as well. So you're going to have to send me all this information because I'm going to put this in the video so people have access to it easily. So
yeah. Or get a hold of Sam.
Okay, and I'll put your number on the internet too, Sam.
That's at 1-800-GOOD-TIME.
Call TA.
Awesome. Well, you guys are great sports. I appreciate you coming on the show.
Can we promote one thing?
Yeah,
Let's
do it.
Oh,
So
talk slut.
all right. So we have our next home match is actually this Sunday. I don't know when we're going to advertise this or put this out there.
Yeah,
but
this will be live next Tuesday, unfortunately.
okay. So we would have already played the Addison Mountain Stars. Okay, on the first at home at the Dover Park, right next to the playground.
Yeah, we won that one 25-0
So I was going to say, you guys going to predict?
We won that 20. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, if Adam heard you talk. So he's the captain of that team.
I hope that doesn't come back to bite us.
Yeah, I will. I'll strike out again.
But then we are going to host, it's going to be our second annual Canal Dover Cup. So it's kind of what a lot of places are going to. They're hosting, you can call them tournaments, whatever.
Yeah.
Just bring in a bunch of teams, everybody plays everybody, and have a good time. Don't necessarily walk out winning a trophy, but somebody comes up with something, and this is what we've come up with, just this nice little mug.
Tree stump.
And we're just going to X that out and put a 1 and just keep on going.
Oh, okay. I feel like this is what a Viking drank out of.
Yeah. So then we're going to take a picture, and then this will be on the shelf down at the maintenance building at the park. So,
awesome.
Down to Dover Park. So that's where it'll be kept. And we didn't do it last year, but we'll get that tradition going. So we got 5 clubs coming in, and we'll start at 10 o'clock with our first. We're going to play 2 matches at the same time. So you've seen us down there at the park play.
Yeah.
So we'll be down at the gravel lot, kind of in that corner.
Okay.
Coming back this way. So the outfields will overlap, but everybody will play. We'll play 4 games. So we'll go until about 3:30. We'll start our last game around 3:30.
Okay.
It'll be an hour and 15 minutes long.
Now,
7 innings.
Now, is there any financial, I guess, burdens that you guys have that would need?
Yes, Percy, we are dead broke.
That is a burden.
We'll include that in with, how if you want to play or attend, I'm sure you would be same Facebook page as how they can get information on how to contribute.
We really, that's something we don't really advertise. We kind of just pay out of pocket for our uniforms. Now there are clubs that have sponsors, and they're real. I don't know where they pay that social media person to do all that, but some do. We just haven't quite got to that point. But we'd always take a donation.
Yeah.
So you could just contact us, and because we pay for our own balls and bats, and
balls are. I don't think people understand how expensive balls are. I know minor league balls are $4 a pop, and they would spend $500,000 a year on minor league balls just for one team. That's just one organization for one level. So they have 5 levels. So just think about all that money spent on balls. So, and I know you guys are probably, more economical about how you use your balls. $15.
This ball here is used, and it costs $15.
So I'm assuming you don't just throw it out when it gets a little scuffed up.
No.
You see pictures in the big leagues like,
No. We'll get.
Do you guys use sticky substances on your fingers when you pitch?
No,
I do.
No comment.
2 episodes ago we were talking about that, so I thought that'd be funny to mention. But
For those who are listening, who want to know what day they should show up at 10 a.m., that would be Sunday, August 15th at Dover Park.
Okay.
First game starts at 10
Drew
a.m.
was supposed to bail me out on that one.
He
said it, but
he never said the day or the day.
He started to say it, and he said, "What time?" And I said, "Well, this is airing Tuesday, so maybe we'll get it out Saturday, Josh."
Yeah, that'd be great.
We'll see.
No. But that's 15th of August that we're having that, and come out and look at our uniforms. This isn't our uniform; that is the hat. But if you want to truly see what the uniform was like, ours kind of replica, more of 1864 type look.
Okay.
Because we wear knickers.
What? No, I'm saying I heard knickers.
Most other clubs back in the day, they wore long pants.
Gotcha. So August 15th, 10 a.m.
Yep.
Dover Park.
Dover Park.
And you guys are playing the this Sunday.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, hopefully.
Yeah.
We'll see when this show is aired.
Drew said that's 25-0.
Yep.
25-0. He's calling it.
And that event, if it does get out in time, this Sunday game time is 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Okay. And that is where?
Dover Park.
Okay.
Right beside the playground there.
Okay. Awesome. Well, again, I always get made up for how many times I thank people, but appreciate you guys coming through. Josh, appreciate you. I know you had to be silent this episode. Maybe we'll get you back out.
Josh.
We'll get you back out talking the next episode, but I appreciate everybody coming through. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Comment. We want some engagement. If you guys want to learn anything, if you guys leave a comment below, then I'll text one of these guys and then I'll type the answer for you. So, or if they have YouTube, they can, be the people that control that, because I obviously don't know. But yeah, stay tuned. This show will be live next Tuesday, no matter when this show goes. A video will be live. We won't be live. We're not doing that yet. I'm too scared right now. But yeah, we appreciate you guys, the support we get for this podcast, and we're going to keep it going. So have a good one. That's not what I usually say. Peace.
Say me casa su casa. It feels like Casablanca. Shouting you my little mama.